As I am recording this, I just finished MetaRunner. And having finished MetaRunner, I can say a few things that, one, I am impressed, especially considering that this is Glitch Productions' very first show. Two, that this has really made me sad that MetaRunner doesn't get more attention, because it deserves it. It is a really good show. Is it without its faults? Absolutely not. But then again, what is without its faults? And also, three, and most importantly, this has deepened my love and appreciation, which is already absolutely massive, for Glitch even more. And I hope that with this crappy, not very well put together review, that I can give MetaRunner the attention it deserves. So on episode 1, we find out that video games are everything, and that to make it in this world, you have to know video games. Platformers, RPGs, shooters, battle royales, it's all video games. And immediately one thing that I'm noticing is the animation is a bit janky and robotic, but it's not a huge thing. It's just like a note that I have. I am loving the bright, vibrant world and all of the, just all of the details put into this world. The fact that you can just play video games on the street really helps, build an atmosphere. And also, the Nintendo console, for those of you who don't know, Kevin and Luke are pretty big fans of Nintendo. The series that they started off, SMG4, is essentially a Mario parody, and I thought that reference was interesting and fun. And also, I am a huge nerd, with pretty much everything. I love video games. I primarily like things like Souls games or action RPGs, first-person shooters, stuff like that. So I already have really high hopes and am very enthusiastic about this. Back to episode 1, we then see Tari walk in on another MetaRunner. They are about to get a speedrunning world record, and they completely miss the shot. They blow it. Everybody breaks up, and then Tari picks up the controller, starts trying to play. The MetaRunner sort of tells her off as this is the speedrunning ring. If you want to play, you got to be really good. And Tari's playing more and more, and then she starts button mashing, and then all of a sudden, she's just in the game. We then see Lux, the leader of this company that owns the MetaRunner that was playing, and, he's like, what's all this? He's all, really intimidating and stuff. He starts tearing into the MetaRunner for losing the speedrunning record, and then notices Tari. Tari has completely warped into the video game. He looks at the screen and sees that, and he's like, hey, get our scientists on this stat. And that concludes episode 1. I really liked it. The animation was a bit janky, but it has a really interesting story. I love the world building and the concepts, the whole thing. Tari doesn't remember who she was, but she's apparently a MetaRunner. I'm really liking this so far. I'm gonna watch episode 2 and be right back to review it. So we cut to episode 2. The game that Tari has warped into is a Mario-esque game. The main character, Coconut Boy, is even talks like and acts like Mario. So there is a lot of parkour type stuff involved. And as the episode goes on, Tari starts to get the hang of it. She's bouncing off walls, collecting coins, and one thing that I found funny is they came to a section where you have to buy the DLC, and Tari's just able to get over that and let in Coconut Boy. And they go to fight some enemies. Tari immediately goes to try and punch them, wonders why it didn't work, and Coconut Boy's like, oh, non-comical violence is looked down upon in an E-rated game. I just thought that reference was pretty funny. And outside, the Meta Runner and Lux, who runs TOSCore, which I assume funds the Meta Runners, is like the Meta Runner affiliate company, is watching Tari with great interest, and he's all, oh, this is the future of gaming. And his Meta Runner's like, yeah, I don't really think so. I don't think this is the future of gaming, and, you know, people don't need a janky VR to play video games. And he's like, oh, that's what everyone said about the robot arms, because all the Meta Runners have like these enhanced robot arms to help them mash buttons and stuff like that faster, I'm assuming. They go absolutely ham on a group of enemies and have a great time doing it. And then Lux puts himself into the game with an evil version of the main character, or a more evil, sinister looking version. And, you know, he starts, you know, asking Tari, you know, like, how did you do this? How did you do this? And that is about where the episode ends. So, coming fresh off of episode 1, I really liked episode 2. This concept, I cannot wait to see expounded on more. Although, the video game characters seem to be very, like, human-like, very lifelike, so I'm kind of wondering about that. It'll probably get explained in later episodes to greater detail, and I'm having a lot of fun with the show. I really like it. Another note, though, a bit of a ding I have, is that some of the voice acting is a bit wooden, and Lux is a bit of a cliche, but still a pretty decent villain. And I'll watch episode 3 and get back to review it. Bit of a note from you guys, I am watching the animated movie cut for the show, so if my placement on where episodes end and begin is a little off, I apologize for that. But figured you guys should know, we're starting off episode 3 pretty strongly. They start burning into Tari's arm when she's still in the video game, and it seems to trigger something. Her veins start to turn like gray, and her eyes start to like change the color of her glow. And then, not just she, but the video game character she's with, Theo, are pulled out of the video game into the real world and are surrounded by Lux, his Meta Runner, and the guards. And, you know, he's trying to calm her down. She's like, frick no, I ain't doing that. You tried to hurt me. And then there's guards blocking the door because she's trying to leave, and Lux continues to in a totally not intimidating way at all, trying to calm her down. And then Theo, using one of his abilities from the video game, throws a coconut at the guard, and they're able to leave. They hide in these, like, streamer pod things. They essentially, you know, act like a gaming room. And it's just like this room full of these with sound canceling technology, and we get a glimpse into the streaming world as Theo begins to fidget around with some of the gaming equipment. And as Lux Meta Runner, you know, finds Tari, you know, she calls out, but, you know, she's like, oh, hey, like, this whole area has soundproofing technology. Nobody's gonna hear you. Tari's like, why would you be willing to do this just to win some video games? Because a prior comment that Lux's Meta Runner made was, you know, he's gonna extract your abilities and give them to us. And, you know, that Lux has hurt a lot of people, and the camera pans down to her arm. So we're gonna get some interesting backstory at some point. And where was I? Oh yeah, you know, she responds to the question about video games with, you'd be surprised what people would go through to get number 1, and her face kind of hardens a bit. And again, I'm thinking, backstory? Really liking this so far. I'm gonna be back to review the rest of the episode in just a minute. Tari ends up getting captured. Theo evades capture, and the conversation between Tari and Lux's meta runner is very interesting. Basically, Tari keeps asking the question, like, why are you doing all of this for video games? And, she's like, in this society, video games are all that matters. And, if you don't win, you don't matter. And, I forgot how the arm came up, but, I keep saying a lot. I should probably stop that. Anyways, Lux's meta runner is like, losing an arm for a meta runner is the least painful thing to use. And then Tari is rescued by Theo and this black guy whose name we find out is Lamar. They get into, the car, they drive off, and he mentions having freaking body pillow in the back. And he tells Tari to put on the hoodie because apparently what they were doing to her arm back at the facility was putting a tracking chip in her, and the material on the jumper will block the hoodie, and they drive off. So that was episode 3. I am liking this even more. I am even more intrigued. I appreciate how this sort of dips into like darker and more mature territory. The other episodes were comparatively lighthearted, and I'm hoping we get to see a bit more of like the darker side of this world. I will be back right after I view episode 4. So, starting off with episode 4, we find out that Tari's rescuer's name is Lamar. I think I already mentioned that. I don't know. And they're being chased by Lux and a few of his TazCore employees. They're driving down, the road, very racing video game style. They're actually controlling the cars using video game controllers, which is a pretty cool concept. And honestly, if that existed in real life, I would be completely cooked because I suck at racing video games. Anyway, Lux orders the guard to use basically an EMP weapon to disable the car so that they can capture Tari. And, they get out and they start firing, and then Tari's like, oh, they have a gun? I'm like, why are you so concerned about a gun? And then I realized, oh, this isn't America. The show was made in Australia. Anyways, and, they're all dodging the gun, and, they start to reach the literal end of the road. Theo points out, hey, there's no road over here, and Lamar's like, you're right, and then Tari's vision that she had in the video game that she was playing before, Super Jump Mania, reveals to her a path that she can use to get around the blockade that's at the end of the road. So she takes the control out of Lamar's hands, upsetting him, has Lucky throw it at a billboard, throw a manhole lid at a billboard, knocking it down so that she can use that as a ramp and jump over the blockade. Lamar is super happy, and he's like, where'd you learn to do that? This and that, blah, blah, blah. And they go into a ramen restaurant, and come to find out, Lamar is the member of a team called MD5. They are united to basically take down TazCore, because, like mentioned earlier, TazCore hurt a lot of people, and these guys are, some of them. And that was episode 4. I liked episode 4 even more than I liked episode 3. Now, the janky animation was a bit, makes the action a little bit less cool, but it's still really cool nonetheless. And I really like how this is still really impressive, the quality, even if it does have some issues. The voice acting, I didn't notice as many like wooden line deliveries or just kind of flat flat like segments of dialogue. And yeah, I'll be right back to review episode 5. So these people that picked Tari up, they already know stuff about her because they were watching the speedrunning tournament. They had apparently had some sort of bug planted there to spy on TASCore because, they exist to help take down TASCore. And we get introduced to one of the other members of TASCore. He's a pretty dark, brooding, more standoffish kind of guy. And to train her, to test her out a bit more, they play this video game called Battle Blaze. But one of the members, looking at Tari's arm, figures out how she is able to go into a video game. It brings something up and she presses a certain symbol and she's just into this video game. Now, Battle Blaze is 100% for me. It is a first-person shooter. I looked it up because the aesthetics reminded me of like the first Call of Duty Modern Warfare game, and it was inspired by CSGO, apparently, or, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. And Tari's, getting her butt kicked, and then she warps into the video game, and her sight that tells her, all sorts of things that she can do in the video game to be able to win is going crazy, and she's like, all of this is too much. And it just sort of takes me back to when I was learning how to play video games. Like, having all these options, not knowing what's best to do, it's pretty relatable. And, slowly Tari starts to get the hang of it, and she gets told by Masa, the more standoffish kind of guy, you'll learn, you just have, part of video games is making the right decision at the right time. And Tari ends up winning the match with the help of the little guy that's with her. I forgot his name right now. And how he was able to get into the video game, I don't know. And Tari's like, hey, so am I MD5 material? And they all accept her. Masa's like, Masa, I don't know how to say his freaking name. He's like, you got a lot to learn, but basically, yeah, you're in. Episode 5 is by far my favorite episode so far. We have a lot more episodes to go. I am really excited. I'm about halfway through season 1, and I'll be back to review the rest of it. So episode 6 is where we get introduced to MD5's how they plan to take down TASCore. And that's through a plan called Operation Silent Demon, which Lamar seems to be pretty no-go about. And, they show this through a cool, their own version of a video game or animation where they all look like Funko Pops. Also, freaking Lamar has another body pillow that he carries around with him. He said, oh, this is my side chick. Okay, buddy. Thought that was a little cringy, not gonna lie. But, going back to the animation, it says, their security is really tight. We want to break into their security, through video games, because everything in the world is video games, right? And it's super, super tight. The only way to get in would be with a very specific, precise glitch. They think that, they could use Tari's power to basically find a way to do the glitch better. She's got a 10 times better chance of doing this properly. Lamar's a bit more open to the idea, but still overall very reluctant and pretty no-go about it. We also find out some more specifics behind Project Blue. Lux's MetaRunner is looking at the file on her MetaRunner arm, and, she finds out that Project Blue is an AI basically made to make MetaRunners that much better. He's very excited at presenting his work to Lux, and he's also drinking a lot of coffee, which, hey, W, my guy. A bit ironic that I am also drinking coffee while reviewing season 1 of the show. And she also sees footage of, him testing out the AI with a controller, and he's like, wait, no. And then she hears somebody yell, and then there's a big explosion that completely cuts off the video feed, and recognizes the voice of one of her friends who presumably disappeared. She showed Lux, and he's like, wow, no wonder he kind of fell off. And she's like, hey, did you not hear the voice in the background? That's my friend. Also, we find out that we're gonna break into the Task Force security through a, not a speedrunning tournament, but a video game tournament in a magic, battle royale sort of game. I really enjoyed episode 6, not as good as episode 5, in my opinion, but still, really good. I enjoyed episode 6, probably my second favorite episode so far. I will be back to review episode 7. Peace out. So, episode 7, they are in the magical battle royale game, Tempest. Essentially in a tutorial mode, trying to teach Tari how to do the glitch. She is dying over and over and over and not making a ton of progress. And to add on to the pressure, they bring up the fact that she's going to be in combat and be attacked pretty much the whole time she is in the game. Yeah, no freaking pressure, Tari. You're only carrying our entire goal on your back with this one. And we also get a bit more of a glimpse into Lucky's, learning all these names has been hard for me, guys, bear with me. Lucky's MetaRunner's backstory. It cuts to her playing Super Jump Mania, just like at the beginning of the show, and she's getting really frustrated at trying to hit the glitch over and over. And her old partner, who apparently was caught in the explosion that we saw in the last episode, his name is Lucinia. She comes in and she comforts Lucky's MetaRunner. I keep forgetting her name. I don't think they've even brought it up yet. And, she's like, hey, staying up till 3 a.m. isn't going to help. You really need rest, and you really need to be well rested for the tournament tomorrow. So she capitulates and, decides to do it. And meanwhile, we're still trying to figure out the glitch for Tempest, and still dying over and over and over again. And then we figure out that the MetaRunner, not the MetaRunner, Project Blue is able to help quite a bit, not just with winning the game, but with doing a specific task in the game too. And then she hits the glitch perfectly, wakes up, everyone else is asleep, and, is like, I did it. And then, Masa is like, yeah, but this is just the beginning. We still have, to be able to do it in the game, not to mention you're gonna be attacked the whole time, and you were only able to do it once. And that was my review of episode 7. Seemed like a training arc episode, and the glimpses we got in Belle is being charged up, and it results in a pretty cool action set piece, not gonna lie. I think episode 8 might be my new favorite episode of season 1, and right as they're about to get a meteor shower rain down on them, they're teleported out of there. How convenient, just right at that moment. And, they're like, we're on top, they're on top of a cliff because it teleports them to a random location. I understand that it was like a last-ditch effort kind of thing, but it seems a little weird, like just doing something that has a chance of putting you into an even worse situation. Once again, I understand that it was a last-ditch effort kind of thing. Anyways, they get attacked by that same team. They all fall off the cliff and survive. I guess fall damage is practically non-existent in this game because they're near, like, the top of the map. And then they start fighting this team again, resulting in yet another really cool action set piece. My thoughts overall on episode 8 are, I really, really liked it. Despite its, brief cliches and, well, of course, that happen, I really, really liked it, and I think it might be my new favorite episode of Season 1. I will be back to review Episode 9. GG's. I just finished Episode 9, and wow. Oh my gosh, this was a great episode. Okay, now I have to say, this is my new favorite episode of at least Season 1 so far. So basically the episode starts, where we left off. They have a fight with that team, and, they walk in, take most of them out, even, I forgot his name, but he's the character from Jumpmania that came with him, gets in a few really good hits. And after, they take out their team, the enemy team, with another really cool action set piece, by the way. It doesn't look as janky as it does earlier in the show, so, there's that to its credit, and it's also just cool and fun to watch. Some of it very much so reminded me of, Avatar: The Last Airbender, especially since, they're using, wind-type spells and stuff with some of them. And then, they're done with the fight, they're talking, and they're like, let's get to the top of the cliff so that we can do the glitch. And we find out the leader of that enemy team is Belle, or Lux's meta runner. And she just heard, the whole thing about MD5, and apparently her and Masa know each other. And right as they're about to do the glitch, the very top of the mountain, she comes and attacks them, knocking one of them off the mountain, and we found out that her and Masa used to be on the same team. Pretty big reveal for me, pretty decently relaxed twist. Really liked that one. And apparently he tried to break into Lux's server, and she didn't. Apparently they had some sort of a deal, and she betrayed him. We get more of fight. Belle completely takes out everyone else and pins Tari down with a stone pillar, and then says, "Let's talk." I am really hyped for episode 10. Episode 9 was really good. We got a lot of story development and some really cool action set pieces. I am so excited for episode 10. I'm gonna go watch that and sum up my review of Meta Runner Season 1. So, I have just finished Season 1 of Meta Runner, and oh my gosh, Episode 10 is absolutely fantastic. So, the fight between Belle and Tari, as Tari goes to trigger the glitch, is absolutely amazing. The action set pieces are so cool, especially like with the whole skydiving thing. There's a lot going through my head right now. And you know, like as they're leaving, they get captured. I'm gonna be honest, I sorta saw that coming, but also, yeah, Theo being dead now. Oh my gosh. I was gonna launch into a whole rant about how much I didn't like Theo and how I thought he was just like an annoying little kid, but GG's, Theo. You were a good character, man. And finding out that Lucinia is related to... Oh man, I'm losing the names, man. That was a really good plot twist. Getting to see the darker side of Lux was super, super cool. He's gonna make a great villain in the final 2 seasons. Overall, I give Metarunner right now still a solid 7.5 out of 10. I heard that Season 2 massively improves on the quality, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. Let's watch Season 2. Hey guys, Editor Me here. I just realized I made a massive mistake regarding my review, well, my final review for Season 1 of Metarunner, and that's Tari sacrificing herself. Basically, now she works for TazCore in exchange for her friend's safety and release. I didn't
Starting
see
off,
anything like that coming,
Metarunner
to be honest,
Season
at
2,
least not
Episode
until
1.
much
I
later.
am already loving it.
I'm really
like,
enjoying
I
Metarunner.
noticed not
I'm gonna
even
go
a
review
minute
Season 2
in.
now.
Wow. The animation quality is freaking night and day, man. Like, the way the characters move is a lot more lifelike and feels more realistic. It's not so janky, and I also heard this was a more, like, action-oriented season, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're gonna do with the better animation as far as the action goes. Anyways, like, the actual story of the episode, Tari is absolutely tearing it up for TazCore and making them a ton of money. She's literally on a 6-month winning streak. And Lux, while he is pretty happy and he's having a lot of puff pieces written about him and his company, trying to make them look good and virtue signal to the public, he is verbally and mentally abusing Tari behind the scenes. Luckily though, Tari does beg Lux to see Theo again, and he is in fact alive, just in prison. And the other Metarunners don't seem to be doing too well. Lamar and Sophia go and find, oh man, what's his name? Masa, and try to reunite with him, and he said, you know, basically, like, there is no us, a bit cliched, and I kind of saw that coming. Moving on to Belle, who's been in the main lineup for TazCore since day one, she has another teammate who is apparently really skilled and really good too, who wants Tari out of the way. She's very jealous and is like, you know, why does she gotta be on the main lineup with me? And Belle's like, Lux went through a lot of effort to get her, and he wants to show off his main prize, which is a pretty creepy way to put it, but knowing that it's Lux, I wouldn't put it past him. So, finalizing my thoughts about Season 2, Episode 1, I am very impressed, and I am very, very excited for the rest of the season. I am loving the animation style. It seems a little bit predictable right now in terms of how the story goes, but I'm sure that'll change and that'll work itself out. And I'll go review Episode 2 now. Oh man, things are really picking up season 2, episode 2. I'm really liking it. We're continuing along the great animation path. Seriously, looking at the animation between season 2 and season 1, I love the improvement. I love Metarunner. I am really liking this show, man. And, so last episode, we found out that Theo is trapped. He is essentially trapped in a prison and being analyzed by Lux and some of his other employees at TazCore. Lux wants to figure out how to get him into the real world, obviously, so that he can make money off of it somehow. Theo triggers a glitch and gets into TazCore's servers and is bouncing around their servers, running between computers and stuff. And visually, that was really cool. Like, inside the server, we got some really cool visuals, and the quarantine protection, it's just like, you know, like a little robot that came, it grabbed Theo, and it put him back into his room. Also, we got to meet Tari's new teammate a little bit more, and she is absolutely awful. Like, they're walking down a hallway. One of the guards trips, he goes to grab his game console that he was carrying, she picks it up and sees that it's an anime dating sim, and holds it over his head and, like, makes fun of him for it. And I'm gonna be honest, as much as, like, we may not like something or we think it's cringe, we shouldn't judge anybody as long as they're not being, like, evil or creepy. I don't think it's okay to judge anybody for what they like. I think people should just be allowed to like whatever they like. Anyways, sorry that was a brief little tangent. And we also find out that Sophia, like, the information that she needed is on her phone, which she left with Belle, and Belle is something of a rat for MD5. Yes, at the end of the episode, they got back together, and, good lord, what is this? Masa is, cooking up a plan to get, Tari and Theo back together, but first, they have to win him a new Metarunner arm. I am really liking this. Season 2, episode 2, probably my third favorite episode. Whoo, man, season 2, episode 3 was a fun one, y'all. So we have, you know, like, the B plot where Tari goes to get the game console from her teammate. I forget what her name is. Oh, Evelyn. From Evelyn, that she took from that guard to hold over his head, so that she can communicate with MD5, because she knows that Lamar is a weeb. Being a weeb, come on, man. Like, imagine dedicating your entire online persona to an animated show or animated shows. Anyway, so she gets her hands on the console, and the rest of MD5 go to play for a new Metarunner arm. Sophia goes to one of her old friends or something like that. I don't exactly know their relationship. And essentially, he runs what's the equivalent of, in that world, an underground fight club. You know, like an illegal video game tournament ring, basically, or something like that. And, Lamar puts up his arm for collateral because MD5 is broke and they don't have money to pay the entry fee. And their goal is to, again, get Masa his arm. And they're playing this game. It's essentially like a car battle royale. One person drives the car, the other person controls weapons on the top. Kills get you upgrades. I would like to say, freaking Tempest and this game, I need to see some of these video games made,
stacked. Like, that would be really cool. Man, wow, a show about video games cooks better than the video game AAA companies these days. Really says something about the quality of video games they're pumping out. Anyways, things look really bad after they off everyone except for Sophia's friend. He's got another set of arms, so he doesn't need a partner. And Lamar and Masa are just playing by themselves. When he's about ready to strike a killing blow, his arms glitch, and Masa and Lamar are able to take advantage of that and kill him. He's all like, oh, this wasn't fair. And then Sophia quotes his rules back to him. In the tournament, the rules, no special treatment for anybody. Basically, a kind of anything goes thing, which is probably, why it's illegal. And what made this episode so fun were the action set pieces. Oh my gosh, were they fun to watch. The car action, the explosions, it was so cool. And, as they're walking away, Lamar asks Masa if he made his opponent's arms glitch, and he's like, hey, I thought you trusted me. And then he just laid off. And this was after they had collected their earnings, and they're going to build Masa a new arm. And I'll be back here in a moment to review episode 4. You guys, I have officially watched past the half point of Metarunner. I have watched season 2, episode 4. And yeah, things are getting pretty interesting. We saw Tari go into an anime dating sim to find one of her friends so that she could contact MD5, and it was pretty funny, her finding out she had to romance one of the characters in the game to be able to do that. And we also saw Belle step out of line so that she could help herself and Tari by learning something about Project Blue. She uses Theo to get into the servers, and they have a pretty cool, glitching fight to destroy a bunch of quarantine bots while they downloaded the file onto her phone. That was a lot of fun to watch. And while she's in the room controlling Theo and doing this, one of the guards catches wind and goes in. She had made a deal with Theo that she could get him out of there and free him if he helped her, but the guard coming in puts a stop to that, and she has to get out while Theo gets put back in his prison. But then Lux realizes that hey, the reason he's trying to leave is because he doesn't feel quite at home, and then sticks him into a nightmarish, glitchy hell version of his, the game that he's from. I forgot what it was called. Essentially, well, like I mentioned earlier, trapping him in hell. Things are getting really, really interesting. This may not have been as much fun to watch as Season 2, Episode 3, but it was, higher quality in terms of the narrative, at least in my opinion. I am going to go watch Season 2, Episode 5. This will put me halfway through
Things are really heating
2.
up now. So, in this episode, Tari was romancing a character to get in touch with Lamar. And I feel like there was a missed opportunity for comedic stuff here, but I understand Glitch was a really small studio at the time and probably couldn't do much. So she essentially just rushed through a bunch of dialogue to fill up the relationship meter and then had to break her crush's heart. And right at that moment, I thought, man, imagine if she had gotten trapped in a DDLC style dating sim. That would have been crazy. That would have been hilarious. Anyways, and she's able to get in touch with the gang, but behind the scenes, Belle views the file relating to Project Blue and finds out that Lux knew about Lucinia's death and essentially covered it up, making him essentially an accomplice. She gets pissed and joins MD5 in the whole dating sim world and decides to join in on their plan. Their latest plan is to, sneak in and get yet more files, just like last season, at their biggest tournament yet. Tari is essentially like their ticket in. Lamar and Masa are going to enter as competitors, especially since Masa now has a new arm, allowing him to actually be a fully functioning meta runner again. And I thought it was really funny, Lux finds out about what's going on, or that, somebody has their own video game and he takes it away, and Lamar's like, no, he's deleting her waifus in front of her at this very moment. I thought that was pretty funny. Anyways, things are really heating up. I'm super excited for episode 6, so I'll go watch that and review it now. Okay, so I thought I'd do episodes 6 and 7 together. 1, because 6 ends on a cliffhanger. 2, I was invested. And 3, because of that stupid meme. No, not the third reason. Anyways, basically the plan in this one is, like I mentioned in the review for episode 5, they are going to use the game. They're using this game tournament to as a cover while Sophia hacks in and gets files and information she needs. The game they're playing is called Hidden Heroes, and it looks like fun. I would assume that it was inspired by League of Legends, but I do not know for sure. It looked like fun, and the 6th episode has the very fitting name of Hack and Slash. Very fun kind of wordplay right there. And Tari's teammate in this tournament is Evelyn. And we get a monologue at why Evelyn hates Tari so much. Because Evelyn trained and trained and trained to get where she was, only to have Tari just pretty much get this handed to her. Which, honestly, I hate Evelyn, but I can honestly kind of see why she'd be upset. Also, and she overhears Tari talking with Masa, because basically their whole ticket in is Tari, and they have to defend her. Sorry about that, guys. Needed to take a drink of water. And she immediately tells Lux, who is running the whole tournament. And then, this is incredibly satisfying, Sophie essentially puts him on a leash, saying, you remove Tari from this game, you do anything, I'm going to add this high quality tournament crashing under your leadership to your list of growing conspiracies and whatnot. Also, in the background, we have Belle doing a she's trying to get free. What the hell is his name? I'll just call him Coconut Boy from now on. Coconut Boy from the glitched hell of his home he is trapped in. And she is having an incredibly hard time trying to beat this game, because you have to beat the game in order to get the cartridge reset. If the cartridge gets reset, then it's no longer glitched, and Coconut Boy will be free. Whew, man, things are getting even more interesting in these next 2 episodes. I'm gonna go watch the rest of Season 2 now, and I will get right back to you. GG's. So, with Episode 8, a lot happened that I was not expecting. So, what had happened in the last episode is that Evelyn had surmised that if she can't kill Tari and try to take her out of the game to end the match so that they couldn't steal the files that they needed, MD5 couldn't steal the files that they needed, that she would kill everyone else. So she goes around, she kills everyone else. Oh, by the way, the robots in the game that they're playing, their designs resemble disassembly drones, so I thought that was pretty cool. And Tari has to defend Lamar while Sophia downloads the files that she needs from Belle's phone. Oh man. But because Lux caught on to everybody, Belle got arrested and they were not able to get Theo out. Yes, his name is Theo. It's not Coconut Boy. I finally remembered his name. I'll probably forget other people's names in the future, but that's beside the point right now. Anyways, after getting the files that she needs, Sophia hacks into the system and says, you know, we're gonna need to evacuate the whole tournament thing. So everyone is evacuating, and Evelyn is fighting Evelyn is fighting Tari because she's really upset because Tari ended up killing her in the game and basically being the final survivor, taking away her special day. And so what had happened before was Sophia used, basically downloaded all the files that she needed onto the game cartridge. They used the game console that Evelyn had taken from the guard who was playing the waifu game to download those files, and so like Tari snatches that on her way out, and in order for everyone else to leave safely, Masa creates a distraction and gets arrested along with Belle. And they're in the back of the van and they reminisce about how, you know, they were on a team, and we actually get a sincere apology from Belle. They reminisce about how they were on a team with Lucinia, and, you know, we get a brief bit of a flashback, and that was really nice to see. They got the files that they needed, and Sophia's all gung-ho about destroying Tazcore, but they can't. They cannot release all the files, and because Theo is still trapped, and I forget exactly how, but basically releasing him, or releasing all the files and getting Tazcore shut down would essentially kill him. Tari says, you know, she has a plan, but it is going to be a really big risk. And that is where the episode ends. The stakes are going up. The action has been an absolute pleasure to watch, and I am here for every freaking second of it. I am going to watch these next 2 episodes and review them simultaneously, like I did with episodes 6 and 7 of this season. I will see you guys in just a little bit. Peace out. I'm gonna be honest, I was a bit confused by episodes 1 and 2 of season 3. I have been recording and making this video for about 12 hours now, so I will try my best to give a good review. After being rescued by Sophia's friend, we essentially find out that Masa was the one to place the bug on, Sophia's friend. Surprise, surprise. I already said, I kind of knew that had happened, or that was gonna happen. And he says, he's gonna give them a chance to play for a, like the Meta Runner arm and, essentially get everything back. But we also find out that everything that had happened in the last 2 seasons was manipulated by the doctor that created Project Blue. Dr. Meriden, I think is his name. And oh my gosh, is he an absolute psycho? He makes Lux look like a nice guy. And he kidnaps Tari and is trying to essentially take all of her necessary brain functions out of her and put them into Lucinia again. Obviously, none of MD5 is having that, so they go to get her back and they go to rescue her. And also, Theo referring to Evelyn as a psycho e-girl, because Evelyn joined up with Dr. Meriden, I assume because she was either in from it all along, or because she wants to get back at Tari. Anyways, I'm sorry this segment wasn't very good. I'm going to pay much better attention and deliver more insightful reviews for the remaining episodes. Peace out, y'all. Alright, y'all. As promised, I locked in and I paid really good attention for episode 3. So what had happened was Evelyn and Tari were being warped into a game called, I believe, Skybreakers, and while they were being warped, Evelyn had cut Tari and destroyed and leaked some of the data out of her, basically crippling her ability in video games, making her much weaker and not nearly as good at them as she would normally be. And there's a pretty cool fight in the tutorial for Skybreakers. Evelyn has to learn how to play the game before she can actually access the world, and they're essentially trying to, hold them off so that they can warp Tari back into her body. Sheridan has completely taken over the company and even renamed it in his name. He is an uncontrollable psychopath. He hates Lux so much that he made an AI of him that he consistently just abuses and tortures for his own amusement. I think Sheridan is a pretty good villain. He makes my skin crawl, though. I guess that's part of what, makes a good villain. I cannot wait to finish the rest of Meta Runner. I am having a great time doing this, and I will be back with my reviews of the final episodes. Man, I gotta say, Season 3, Episode 4 was a fun one. But before I get into that, I'd like to mention something that I think I forgot to mention in my last review, is that Sheridan had trapped Belle and Masa in Battle Blaze, which the animation on this was absolutely insane. The animation improved so much from the first season. It's like mind-blowing, just so freaking cool to see. And they were essentially stuck killing Lucinia over and over again in Battle Blaze, while they are also being killed. Don't worry, me correcting that is 100% relevant to the story of this episode. So basically, Tari lost her Meta Runner Vision and is having a lot of trouble mastering Skybreakers. The rest of NV5 showed up and, you know, they're totally kicking ass and doing great, while Tari is just completely left in the dust. She can't hit everything or anything, which resulted in a really hilarious line. Somebody said, you know, I've seen you miss more shots than Mark shooting his shots with girls online. Made me laugh out loud. That was freaking hilarious and unexpected. Evelyn, in all of her pettiness, is still hunting Tari. They plunder some ships, which result in some really fun action set pieces. And then they go to Marauder's Landing to, you know, resupply and get Tari some better gear to make up for her lack of skill. They cannot fight on Marauder's Landing. It's essentially like a truce type area. But then Evelyn shows up and just completely starts wasting people left and right. Just killing everyone. They, MD5 takes the supplies that they get and, you know, they fight their way out. Tari, encounters Lucinia. Yeah, Lucinia is helping out, Evelyn. And, injures her and gets some of her Meta Runner Vision back and really gives Evelyn the old 1-2 with the help of her teammates in another really fun battle. I would really like to see Skybreakers, like, be made into an actual game. That would be freaking cool as heck. And at the end of the day, or not at the end of the day, at the end of the episode, we find out that Meriden has taken over Masa and Belle's minds, or they seem to be hypnotized. Ooh man, this is probably my favorite episode of the series. Definitely the most fun, in my opinion. I just really like the action and just what Skybreakers is. It looks like a lot of fun. And also, PD might be my favorite side character. At one point, he gets killed by Evelyn, and I'm like, no, I really liked you. He's like, the sweet release of death has come for me. And then he just respawns, and he's like, damn. I thought that was hilarious. I am really looking forward to see how they're going to take down Meriden and get themselves out of the game in the following episodes. I'm going to be honest, I always thought Lux would be the final villain, so I was always expecting them to fail completely in Season 2. And that's all I got for right now. I'll be back to review Episode 5. Episode 5 was really interesting. We got a bit more insight into what Evelyn can do, or more what she is doing for Sheridan. And one of the things that she does is she can like grab players in the game and then they start to glitch out and then they go into a Sheridan Core, like a Sheridan Core room. And also Sheridan continued his breakdown of Belle and Masa by digging into their trauma and guilt, basically saying, you know, I can make those all go away, and essentially turning them into mind slaves or some sort of slave. I don't know if it's a full-on brainwash, but either way, he's got them in his back pocket now.
there was a lot of fun action, especially from Lamar and Evelyn. Their fight was pretty fun to watch. Oh, also, Evelyn's ability seems to affect players in the real world, and because Sophia goes to Lamar's body and says, like, his vitals are dropping. I don't know if it fully kills them, because Sheridan says he seems to need them for something. So I'm almost certain it doesn't, like, actually kill them. Either way, really solid episode. Getting more and more interesting. Already starting episode 6 off really crazy. So we get an ad from Sheridan Corps. Basically, they they're starting to mass produce what was Project Blue so that everybody can be in the game. It's got some dark humor and it's very satirical. That's the ad that we see. I really enjoyed that. Reminds me a lot of, in a way, like JC Jensen from Murder Drones. Also, ShareCore and TozCore remind me of IOI from Ready Player One. It also kind of reminds me of the company from RoboCop. And it was also, like, in this episode where I finally got a hand on what exactly Sheridan's motives are. He wants to trap everyone in this digital hell so that not only can he exercise absolute power over them, but also as just a giant finger to Lux, because he developed the Metarunner arm, and he believes that Lux took all the credit, which is why he hates him so much. And anyways, we see Tari and the rest of the crew fighting for, or basically trying to find the gateway so that they can go and now save the world. And not just their friends and themselves. The way Sheridan is able to do all this is because he developed the Metarunner arm, so I assume he messes with the arms somehow. And also, we have Theo glitching out more and more, like he might actually go back to his game cartridge or even die. He's hiding it from everyone else because he doesn't want to worry them and he just wants to have fun. And then we get like the start of a really cool battle, or what's going to be a really cool battle. I really liked this episode. Like, this show has me more and more and more on the edge of my seat than ever. This final battle is going to be so epic. I'm going to review episodes 7 and 8 of season 3 of Metarunner simultaneously, like I did with man, I forgot which ones I did that with. I know that I did it with 2 others. I'll be back. Hey guys, I decided to move to my room for the final recording of the last 2 episodes of Metarunner, and oh man, these were epic and freaking emotional too. So the fight between Evelyn and MD5 starts. Oh, I forgot to mention, she also brought along Lucinia, Masa, and Belle. You know, they're like hypnotized versions. And they slowly, you know, wear everybody down. And Belle does, and no, not Belle. Evelyn does end up killing Theo, still on her diatribe about how she's better than Tari. And yeah, I'm gonna be honest, that hit me a lot harder than it should, especially since when I was watching yesterday, I was like, I don't really like Theo. He's kind of annoying. Everybody else slowly like gets eliminated from the game, and Lamar is like he's trying to appeal to Masa to snap him out of Sheridan's hypnosis, and does so successfully for just a moment before he gets taken out of the game by Masa. And then when they have Tari cornered and Evelyn's about to off Tari, she's like, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I killed Theo. And seeing Tari's emotional reaction brings Masa back to the real world, and he saves Tari. And then, sorry about that. I lost where I was. And then slowly gets back Belle as well. They fight off Lucinia, and Tari gets the rest of her Meta Runner vision back and is able to beat Evelyn finally. And then in episode 8, oh man, this is truly epic. She goes through the gateway into Sheridan's server where he's keeping everybody, and Lucinia follows her, and the battle that ensues is epic. They're going between all sorts of different video game worlds that they had already been in with their fight, and including all sorts of different items and like different powers from Tempest, and I know they went through Jump Mania and into the dating sim that they were in before. One of the characters from the dating sim shows up to help Tari. I thought that was funny and pretty cool. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to get Lucinia into a room in Sheridan's server so that they can essentially put the fragments of her brain that are trapped in the digital world back into her body so that they can revive her properly. And like I said, the fight that ensues is epic. You have Sheridan on one side, playing God and bending the world, and Sophia being a thorn in his side, helping out Tari. And then they hit her with a trick, essentially, where they deactivate Lucinia's powers for just a moment. Tari gets her and herself run over. They go up a ramp and into the room that they need to. And as Tari's performing the surgery, what had happened before in the last episode is Marco, who is Sophia's friend's name that ran the illegal video game ring, who also voices Ken the Butcher in Gaslight District, was going to destroy Sheridan's server regardless of who had gotten out, but doing that would have killed both Lucinia and Tari. By this point, Sheridan is absolutely losing it. He's like, I'm supposed to win. Marco shows up and is able to tear Sheridan away from his computer long enough for Tari to realize that she won't be able to save herself and Lucinia, so she decides to save Lucinia, essentially sacrificing herself. Everybody is super hyped to see Lucinia in the real world, and they grieve Tari and are finally able to get back to their lives. We see Evelyn being arrested. Thank God. I haven't come across a character that Esley Lovelock voiced that I didn't like, but I have now, and that's Evelyn. I freaking hate Evelyn so much. Good Lord. And we find out at the end of the show that Tari's not actually dead. She cannot return to the real world. She and Theo are essentially trapped in their own server with all these different video games, and the show cuts off after they, decide, hey, we're just gonna chill out and play video games. Oh, I forgot to mention, we also got a kiss between Belle and Lucinia. Their romantic relationship had always been kind of hinted at, and honestly, I didn't know if there would be any romance in the show, but, good for them. Good for them. Glad they got what they want. So, that was Medarunner. I loved Medarunner. I see why so many people say it's underrated, and more people need to check it out, because it is underrated, and more people do need to check it out. And as somebody who entered the Glitch Productions fandom, just after Murder Drones had ended, actually through Murder Drones, I am so grateful to Medarunner for walking so that everything else in Glitch Productions should run. And it's a legitimately good show, too. There is some issues, and the animation quality isn't the best, but then again, what's perfect? Yeah, I'm just so thankful for Medarunner and for Glitch. I love the small community that I've gotten, and someday, Glitch fans and like Glitch does with Medarunner, I'll be looking back on all this and being like, yep, this is where it started. This is how I got myself going. I hope you guys enjoyed this absolute freaking mess of a review. This is by far my longest video. I put my heart and soul into this one. It's been well over 15 hours in the making. Absolutely crazy. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. GG's.